Hey Reservoir, happy 25th anniversary. My name is Tom O'Toole. I was born in Cambridge and grew up in Billerica, a suburb about 20 miles to the northwest of Boston. At the age of 14, I knelt beside my bed in the privacy of my bedroom and told God that I believed in him and wanted to be his friend. At the age of 15, my mom asked me a question that set my life on a trajectory that continues to be a challenging and sometimes heartbreaking journey. Tommy, are you gay? Do you like boys? I was stunned by my mom's question. I'm sure I looked at her wide-eyed and there was a long pause before I replied, "Yep, I like boys. I guess I must be gay." Mom's face and body language drooped and she said, "Well, we know what God thinks about that. We need to get you some help." At that moment, I was instantly transported into what now feels like a real-time reenactment of the Robert Frost poem, The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. In be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Without quoting the entire poem, I will say that it is about looking down two paths and finally choosing to take the path not taken by others. Thus began a journey that for about 25 years was consumed with attempts to choose the road not taken. The first help my parents took me to was a young pastor at a conservative evangelical church near our home. He told me two things. First, God demands that you change. That is clearly non-negotiable in Scripture, he said. And second, God can and will help you make the right choice if you have enough faith. I believed and trusted that young pastor. I was devastated to think that I was letting down this God with whom I had established a deep and meaningful connection just 1 year earlier. And as I continued to receive and seek sources of help, I felt like I was altering my travels down both of those roads in that yellow wood, sometimes experiencing a loving, intimate, and affirming connection with my friend, God, and sometimes choosing to seek physical and sexual connection with anonymous men. God heard my prayer when I was 14 and agreed to become my friend. Intimacy with God grew, and I began to have moments and even days of heartfelt connection with God through prayer, music, and expressing my love for God, which is something I refer to as worship. In my early 20s, I was hired as the principal of a newly formed Christian school, and I served for 7 years as an emerging young leader in the conservative, evangelical, ecumenical church culture in my region. Yet it was not uncommon for an afternoon of intimacy with God and effective leadership as a Christian school principal to be followed by a night of cruising for anonymous sexual intimacy. In Jeremiah 3:2, it says, "Sitting by the roadside, waiting for lovers, like a nomad in the wilderness." As years passed and my same-sex attraction didn't change, the inner conflict I was experiencing began to manifest in detrimental ways in my body and my mind. I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. At night, during my sleep, I experienced chronic severe teeth grinding that slowly annihilated my youthful smile, creating a wide gap between the top and bottom edges of my front teeth. About 4 years ago, I decided to repair my smile, but it cost me more than $11,000 for 1 year of orthodontic work followed by crowns. In 2000, at the age of 40, after 25 years of working with multiple ex-gay reparative therapists, participating in 3 different 6 to 12-week group therapy programs, all aimed at helping participants bring about the change that we were told God demanded, I made one last effort to change by dating a woman and exploring the possibility of marrying her. I ended that relationship after several months when I realized I had no physical, sexual, or emotional attraction to her, and that proceeding with a mixed orientation marriage would most certainly lead to sorrow, suffering, and regret. Then I walked away from my friendship with God. I cursed God and his people. I attempted to immerse myself in gay culture in and around Boston. I stopped all efforts to change my sexuality, and for 12 years I attempted to live an authentic life as a gay man. But addiction to prescription drugs and alcohol emerged, nearly taking my life on several occasions from dangerous blackout falls that caused serious injuries. And God would not let me go. God followed me into the darkest moments and places of despair that I had entered in search of the real me. In 2012, I was invited back to the church I had left 12 years earlier, and I accepted that invitation, hoping there might be a way to live authentically as a man of faith who is also gay. not hiding my sexuality or trying to change it. I returned, telling the church that I wanted to live the rest of my life as a man of faith who also happens to be gay. I had been involved with that church for over 20 years, serving on its leadership team and as a worship leader. Once I returned, most of the people there did their best to love me and to accept all the parts of me, but still I never felt like I fully belonged. I felt like I was living in no one's land, that desolate space between the borders of two countries. And my existence in no one's land felt like each bordering country would forever be at war. In real life, no one's land in wartime is a place of despair, fear, and death. It is a place where bullets fly and bombs explode. I longed for a home, for a safe place to rest all the parts of my being, but I couldn't find one. So I did my best to shelter in the foxholes of no one's land. In the fall of 2020, I left the church I had now been a part of for 30 years, and although I was beginning to sustain sobriety from drugs and alcohol, my depression and anxiety increased. But I kept looking for a home. And in January 2021, I was guided to a place called Reservoir. It's hard to believe that I've been coming to Reservoir Church for more than 2 years now. In this community of faith, I have finally found a home. Due to the demands of caring for aging parents, a new job transition this year, and the fact that I live several miles away from Reservoir, I do struggle to get more connected and to maintain a connection with my LGBTQIA+ community group. But I can honestly say that because of Reservoir Church, I have left no one's land. I feel immense gratitude to God, to our church's staff, and to all who attend our church. I belong at Reservoir.